Welcome to Women on Men, the podcast where we explore masculinity through the eyes of women. Together, we challenge stereotypes, rethink traditional roles, and discover what it means to be a man today. I'm your host, Rafael Gomez. My guest today is Holly Solem. Holly's writing has appeared in Vogue, The Huffington Post, Oprah Daily, and The Coveteur. Solem is a model, actress, writer, and singer-songwriter known for her work on the Amazon original series Hand of God. Over 25 of her songs have appeared in film and on TV. She is currently working on a memoir. You can read her Substack, Hollywood, watch her brand new internet series, Manthropology, and follow her at Holly Solem. Welcome
Holly
to the
M.
podcast.
Solem.
Holly M. Solem. I'm sorry. I'm going to link to everything anyway. I promise.
Okay.
Everything's going to be linked. Holly M. Solem. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I discovered you through your amazing Manthropology series, where you ask men why they are the way they are. How have those interactions surprised you?
The whole thing has been surprising. The whole thing was kind of an accident. First I had all these like male I write, about my life, and I'm a woman, and I thought it would just I was kind of writing for the girls, and somehow I ended up amassing all these male followers.
Wow.
Like a lot of them, and they all came from it started with TikTok.
Yeah.
And I called them my TikTok boyfriends and was folding them into stories, and it was a joke at first, but then I was like, I don't know what to do with all these guys. Like, maybe I should make something for them.
Yeah.
Make something for men, and men love to see themselves, like to see themselves represented. So I thought, maybe I'll just talk to men about being men.
Yeah.
Around that time, I had posted on Threads, just not thinking, hey, men, why are you like this? And it blew up. It got over 1 million views, and like people in media and news were sharing it, and people were really upset, but then other people were like defending me, and it just became this huge conversation and this huge fight within the comments about what that means. Like, am I being aggressive? It's just it's like a Rorschach test.
Yeah. It's
like
exactly what it is. Yeah. You ask that question and they tell you everything you want to know.
Yeah. So like they get defensive if they're defensive, and
Right.
and if they feel good about themselves, they respond in like. So it was kind of an accident, and then I came up with the idea to do Manthropology, and my partner at Bespoke Media was like, you should maybe ask that question. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't know. The men are going to get mad at me. But I did it. I made myself do it.
Yeah. And
And
you do it mostly around LA?
Right now, mostly LA. And I plan on like taking some trips this summer to shoot in other places.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you do have a lot of insight into men these days. So that leads us into our first question. And that question is, what does masculinity mean to you? And not the stereotypes we often hear about, but how do you define it in your worldview?
I think masculinity is an energy. I don't think it's gendered necessarily. I mean, at all. I don't think masculinity is gendered. We all have masculine and feminine in us, embodied within us. I see masculinity as an energy that's very it's powerful, it's supportive, it's stable, it's assertive, but it's not aggressive.
Okay.
It's warm, it's confident, it's like assured, there's a lot of like stability and warmth and being like held, and it's protective. But yeah, it's just an energy. So
I like that.
Oh, I have masculine traits and yeah.
So that kind of protection, that warmth, that stability, those are the things that you typically see as masculine. And you're saying women can display those traits as well. And so that becomes masculine. Well, I guess in that case, are there any traits that you would say are feminine that also men can exemplify? I know I didn't ask you to define that ahead of time, but I'm curious.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love a man who's balanced, who has who's masculine and feminine and who understands what that is. It's not aggressive. It's not about like, getting your way or getting yours or building homes. It's
Yeah.
about it's about, yeah, being like protective and powerful and stable. A man who also has feminine energy and is in touch with his feminine side is also very hot. Like someone who can be, sensitive and emotionally aware. And I see femininity as sort of like more creative and recepting and more like open and gentle, like feminine sort of draws you in and the masculine sort of comes towards you.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. I never heard it put like that. That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah, outward versus inward.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to frame it.
I think it's a little like woo woo, maybe like kind of like spiritual woo woo people sort of see it that way. But I get it. Like I can see that. It makes sense in my mind.
It makes sense to me. And I asked this question because, when I first started this podcast, I didn't quite know exactly how to answer it. I'm like, well, is it strength? And I'm like, well, what kind of strength? There are strong women too. And is it emotional strength? That's also, strength. And I courageous came to mind, but it's like women are just as courageous. I mean, so it's like, how can it just be this thing that's gendered, as you were saying? Like, I don't know
Yeah.
how I can assign all these traits to just one gender, but I do
Yeah,
think
it's
it's
an energy. It's not a
right,
gender.
exactly. And I think most of my guests have answered in a similar fashion, which I think says something about either today's view of gender or today's view of masculinity. Because I think maybe if you ask this question back in the 1950s, you get a whole different kind of answer. But today, in today's world, it's like, well, people are people, and we don't necessarily need these strict gender divides. And maybe the stereotypes of masculinity aren't helping anybody anymore.
Yeah, I mean, stereotypes generally aren't helpful, but they're fun to play with and they're fun to talk about and
Yeah.
expose and yeah, they're a part of the discussion and they exist for a reason.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, they're an interesting thing to inspect.
Yeah. Well, that leads us to our next segment, which is called masculinity myths. This is where I make a statement about masculinity and you say whether you think it's a true statement in your worldview.
Okay.
So,
So I'm saying if it's true.
in your worldview, yeah, true
Okay.
or false in your worldview. So, and you can expand as much as you like,
Okay.
or as little. So, myth one: women only value men for their resources and protection.
No, that's definitely not true. Not to like call anybody out, but most of my female friends are the breadwinners in their
Yeah.
relationships. So it's just not true.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I've seen changing too. One of the questions that's the most popular on my channel was, would you date a man who earns less than you? And a lot of the women said yes, and men are struggling to even believe that. But a lot of women are like, I married my husband who's a teacher and he makes less than me and I love him to death. And I think you're seeing more and more that women are becoming the breadwinners. Even my wife, for a long time I was a breadwinner, but now she is. And it's like, well, we're totally okay with that.
To expand on that, I think a lot of the reasons why women thought we needed a breadwinner was because we couldn't even get a credit card till 1974. We
Right.
couldn't open bank accounts. I don't know, the 80s or so, something crazy. Like I
Yeah.
don't know the exact
It's
number,
around there. Yeah.
quote me, but like in our recent years, in very recent times, so women genuinely did need a man to take care of her.
Right.
So that's where this came from. It's not like this isn't how it's supposed to be now that we're sort of finally maybe kind of catching up where there's still a wage gap. But women are making money. And we are able to take care of ourselves. Hopefully that continues legally.
Yeah,
to,
for sure. Hopefully, we're
um,
we're, we're going to keep working on that, making sure that stays.
so yeah, that's like it was really born out of necessity.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw some stats when I was preparing for my debate that women make up about 45% of the entire workforce, which is crazy. They also make up 43% of all entrepreneurs, which a lot of people still say women work in the same fields they've always have, but it's like they're almost half of business owners, which is really remarkable to me.
And there would be more if there was more accessibility. I mean, women were still trying to catch up. Like
Right.
like men have had a chance to get ahead
Right.
in business and financially, and women are, um, we're getting there.
In one generation, basically. I mean, that was only
Yeah.
50 years ago, which is really crazy. I mean, the acceleration, and it's actually getting quicker for women because they're now outpacing men in college. They're outpacing men in the workforce, younger men. So it's happened very quickly. And I think,
Women have always been smarter.
oh, I mean,
I'm gonna get in
especially
trouble for
better,
saying
especially
that.
better in school for sure. Absolutely.
But we do have a different way of thinking. We see more. We see a
Yeah.
bigger picture. So
My wife is legit smarter than me. I will admit that. Like she's legit. She went to Wellesley. I can't compete, but at least she loves me, so that's good.
that's good. You're very lucky.
The second one, I think I already know your answer based on what you said, but women don't respect men who earn less than they do.
Yeah, that's not true. But women, it's a confidence thing. Like if a man feels shitty about it, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
If a man feels resentful about it, that's where the problem is. It's not the actual dollar amount that is the
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the responses I've gotten from women is like, yeah, I dated a guy who earned less than me, but he had a problem with it, not me. He felt insecure about it. He didn't, he brought it up all the time, and it's like you just kind of shot yourself in the foot. Like you probably had a good relationship, but your own insecurities got in the way.
Yeah.
Number 3, masculinity is about physical strength and dominance.
No, definitely not. Like I said, masculinity is
Yep.
an energy. I mean, physical strength is great.
Yeah.
I'm not good at opening jars. It's nice to have a man to carry things, but not all men are stronger than women. It's
Right.
just another stereotype.
Yeah.
Masculinity's an energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Number 4, women value looks and wealth over qualities like humor and kindness.
Yeah, definitely not. Like, definitely not. I feel like most women I know were kind of like put off by a man who's too good looking because they're like, oh, they're probably like lazy and they've never had to really
Develop a
develop other
personality. Yeah.
things. Um, yeah, there are some hot guys that are really cool too, but no, I think most women would prefer a man who is, well, for sure funny and kind over looks
Yeah.
all day, every day.
That's what I'm finding as well. That's why I ask these questions because it's like these are what a lot of men believe, and it's like if you ask women, I don't think that's what they'll tell you.
Yeah, these guys don't want to listen to women say what they
They
want.
certainly don't. And the last one, women are inherently hypergamous and will leave a man for a better option.
I mean, you could say that about anybody. That's not true. Yeah, that's just like a people thing. There are loyal people, there are not loyal people. I have been left for A-list celebrities more times than I would like to admit. I've been left for the better options so
No
many
way. That's so messed up.
So yeah, men do it too.
I don't
But
think that's a gender thing either. A lot of red pill men really believe that women are the ones that are always like leaving for the better option. But I saw a statistic that men are 54% more likely to cheat in a relationship than a woman anyway. So it's like who really is the one leaving for the better option, quote unquote.
yeah, I mean, men cheat, women cheat, everyone cheats, I'm realizing, but like, or they don't, but it's definitely not, I don't think that's gendered either.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think, yeah, there's no like women are looking for something better. That's maybe people in LA are always
Well,
looking for something.
yeah, I mean, if you're talking about A-list celebrities, I think someone in Oklahoma is not getting left for, an A-lister, but LA, I guess you run that risk somehow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That must be hard. But I guess if I had to be left for somebody, I'd rather it be, an A-lister if I had to
I'm
be.
just like, okay, I guess I have to become famous because
You'll get there. You're getting there. So this leads us to our next segment, which is called partner priorities. Now, before I get into this, you're single, correct?
Yes, I am.
How has dating been for you in the last few years or however
So
long?
I have been single for 7 years.
Oh,
No,
wow.
like a little over 7 years. I got sober a little over 7 years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it was like a very conscious choice at first. Like, I need to be single. I need to work on myself. I don't have anything to offer anybody, and I'm a mess, and I gotta like figure out my shit. So sorry if I'm not supposed to
No,
swear.
no, cussing is totally fine.
Okay. Yeah, so it was very conscious that I wanted to be alone and learn how to be alone because I realized, I used drugs and people all the same to feel
Yeah.
better about myself. So then by the time I kind of felt like I was sort of starting to feel ready to date and like my feet were like I was a stable person, the pandemic hit. So then I didn't really date. And
Yeah.
so yeah, like the last couple years I've started to be like, okay, I'm in my groove, I'm stable, I can maybe be ready for someone else. But dating in LA is hard. I mean dating anywhere is hard. Um yeah, it's difficult. I think because I'm very happy on my
Mhm.
own
Yeah.
and very satisfied with my life, and I'm not lonely, and I have friends and uh, a lot of love in my life it's not. I don't want children.
Hmm.
Like it's not. I don't feel any rush.
Sure.
So it's been interesting. I've dated a lot, kind of for because I write about it sometimes,
Yeah.
and so for a while I was like really hardcore like dating and then writing my dating stories and then I was like, okay, I have enough stories. I would like to meet someone who's not a story.
Yeah. So you're open to dating, but perhaps you're just waiting for that person, especially when we get into your traits. But that person that I think makes you feel like you can't help it but to date them.
Yeah, yeah, I want some kind of like magical connection and yeah, I want something that just really adds to my life. Like
Yeah.
not necessarily like adds value like oh they have to come in and take care of me. I can take care of myself, but
Sure.
somebody who just makes life better and more fun and easier and really someone to have fun with. Like that's the real goal, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm seeing a lot of single women today are looking for. They're not looking for the provider type. They're looking for someone they just want to enjoy their life with. And that's what the partnership, I think, becomes really beautiful is like, I just enjoy my time with you. I just enjoy sharing my thoughts with you and going on these trips with you or just going and getting in
Like
and
a
out.
best friend that you want to sleep with.
Exactly. It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
Um,
easy.
so this is called partner priorities.
Okay.
This is where you ranked 10 traits in order of importance when you first meet a guy and then re-rank them again 5 years into the relationship. And this shows how traits evolve as the relationship grows. And these traits are looks, kindness, confidence, ambition, personality, emotional intelligence, humor, financial stability, intelligence, and reliability. And your choices for initial attraction. Number one was confidence. Tell me about that.
Oh, confidence is everything. Everything. Like you can't have anything without confidence. Like a
Yeah,
guy who is insecure, there's nothing less attractive than an insecure man. And that's like deep. Like
sure.
that's people need to like work on themselves to become secure within themselves for the
Yeah,
most part.
yeah,
So I feel like confidence just sort of says a lot about everything, about how they are stable in their lives and yeah, like it's way hotter than somebody who's like physically attractive. Confidence is king. It's number one. I actually have confidence tattooed on my arm.
nice.
I'm like
A daily reminder.
confident. It's like BDE, big dick energy. Like that's what confidence is.
Exactly. One of my more popular questions on my street interviews were, "What's more attractive, looks or confidence?" And every single woman said confidence. And men struggle to believe that. They say things like, "Well, if you look good, you have confidence." And I'm like, "No, confidence comes from inside. It comes from an undeniable belief in yourself, regardless of how you look or your circumstances, and that is attractive in itself."
And like I think good looking people struggle more with confidence
Interesting.
because looks change, looks fade.
Right.
You maybe don't even have to develop like this internal like love as much because you get so much externally.
Yeah.
Which validation that you
Right.
become like very reliant on that validation and you don't have like an inner confidence and you're
Yeah.
kind of waiting for everyone to like approve of you. So I think, yeah, good looking is always can be like a big hindrance.
Yeah. I think if your confidence comes from external validation, if that goes away, you no longer have confidence.
Oh
It's
yeah, you're
it's gone.
fucked.
It's flimsy. Yeah. So it
Yeah.
has to come despite your circumstances. Number two, kindness. That is an interesting choice. I'm glad it's there, but tell me about what kindness means to you when you're first meeting somebody.
Yeah. I maybe when I was younger, I wouldn't have put that so high on the list. But gosh, like I just I just want somebody to be nice to me, but not nice because they want something, like somebody who's genuinely like kind,
Yeah.
good in their heart and pure and kind because that is what and who they are.
Yeah.
Nice is a whole other thing. Like don't be nice. Like people can be nice because they just want to get something. Nice feels more manipulative, but
That's an
kind
interesting distinction.
is so important.
So maybe the advice would be don't be a nice guy, be a kind guy. Maybe that's
That's good.
yeah, I mean that just you just gave me the idea. I think that's a distinction. A nice guy maybe is doing it for a reason, but kindness is just who they are. And
Yeah, I think when men are like, "Oh, you don't want a nice guy," they're thinking about the guy who's being nice that's like in maybe in like even a manipulative way.
mhm,
Um, yeah, being just like a surface level niceness.
yeah.
We don't want that. We don't want that nice guy. That's true. We want someone who's genuinely kind in their soul.
A kind soul. I love that.
Yeah.
And lastly, for initial attraction, intelligence. So tell me about that.
Yeah, I really like smart people. It's really hot.
You're a sapiosexual. Is that what they're called? I think.
I guess so. I am a sapiosexual. That's
Nice,
right.
nice.
Yes, intelligence, somebody that I can have, real conversations with. Also, intelligence doesn't mean college education. I didn't go to school. I didn't even graduate high school. I
Yeah,
had like very weird circumstances. So I'm not talking about like education. It's more of like, yeah, it's a depth. It's like an intellectual depth and a larger understanding.
yeah, that makes sense. And to go to your point about just kind of wanting somebody in your life you could just have conversations with and talk to, intelligence can speak to that if you guys are, speaking about deeper topics or things that are interest to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to be able to I like to talk.
Yeah. And your bottom three for initial attraction. Number one is looks, which is gonna surprise a lot of people. But tell me why that is in your bottom three.
That is definitely the least important. I have dated every kind of look man that looks in every kind. Like they're height, everything, like every height, super short, super tall, big, small, bald, hairy, like everything. And it really is just about a vibe. It's just like this,
Yeah,
it's energy, it's a feeling, it's the confidence. It's really not about looks. I mean, obviously, like I will speak for women. We don't want somebody who's like gross and like doesn't take care of themselves.
sure.
But
Hygiene
yeah,
is important. I mean, at the very least, a guy can do is,
genetically,
yeah,
you can, there's always something to work with.
yeah, for sure. I think if guys just are, they take care of their hygiene, they groom, maybe they work out a little bit. I
Eat
feel like
well,
eat well. Yeah, take
respect
care of
yourself,
themselves.
respect
Exactly.
yourself,
Exactly. That
and
is
then you're gonna
attractive.
look good. You're gonna look, you know,
Yeah, absolutely. Uh,
feeling good is looking good.
that's a good way to put it. I think that also gives you the confidence too. You're just like, I feel good because I am good. I am taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And then the last two for bottom three for initial attraction were reliability and financial stability. Again, I think reliability, I don't think is going to surprise people, but financial stability is the one that I think a lot of people, again, misconstrue what women are looking for initially, that they're just checking their bank statements, right on the first date, like, hey, show me your bank account.
So the financial stability thing is interesting because, I don't want to date a guy who doesn't have his shit together.
Sure.
Like financial stability is great, and of course I would like that in my life, but it's more about like it's more about ambition, and it's more about like a desire to do something, or to be doing something, whether or not it's like succeeded yet or not. But somebody who has goals and dreams is like very uh attractive and sexy.
Yeah.
So it's, people are at different places with that. So it's not, yeah, it's not about the numbers in the bank. If it were, I would be some like unhappy housewife.
Yeah. So 5 years into a relationship, it does change a little bit. So number one, personality is the most important thing to you when you're deeper into the relationship.
I guess personality is like all encompassing. That's
Yeah.
just sort of like, yeah,
Yeah.
are you cool? Are you a
Yeah.
cool, good person to hang out
Yeah.
with?
Your interests, how you talk, all of it. Yeah. It all kind of
Yeah.
like the vibe, as you were saying.
Yeah.
And then reliability has moved from the bottom three to number two when you're
Well,
5 years
it
in.
was in the bottom because it's like you don't really know when you're
Initially. Yeah.
dating somebody if they're reliable or not. Yeah, I guess in a long-term partnership, you want to know somebody's got your back and feel like you can trust them and rely on them.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. And then
Also,
number
they have all
three,
these other good qualities.
yeah. And number three, which I think is a very popular topic these days, emotional intelligence. How does that show up for you in a partner?
I've really, because I was an addict and I've been single ever since, I've only been in partnership that is not healthy and I have not had dealt with that much emotional intelligence. I mean, yeah, I guess I had one boyfriend who was more emotionally intelligent than me, and he dumped me for an A-list celebrity.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I had a lot of growing up to do. So, yeah, I emotional intelligence is really hot. That's I don't It's so different for men.
Hmm.
Like, okay, so I heard somebody say they were reading a book about somebody who transitioned from female to male.
Okay.
And once they started taking the hormones to become male, they um, said their emotional range of intelligence went from like a rainbow spectrum to like three primary colors. I wish I
Whoa.
knew what book this was because I've now referenced it like 5 times, so I got to figure it out. But um, I think that's really fascinating because we have to, as men and women, understand that we really do see things in a different scope.
Yeah. That's
But
so interesting that it happened on a hormonal level. Because I've read a lot about emotional intelligence, and it does seem like men aren't encouraged, obviously, to explore their emotions at all. They're not comfortable with other people's emotions. And that is what emotional intelligence is. It's an understanding of your own and everyone else's around you, and how that affects people, and how to, open up, and how to, take someone else's emotions and be able to manage them in a way that doesn't, directly affect you. And I think that's very interesting that even on a hormonal level, there can be that change beyond societal, because that's
yeah,
already a part of it.
yeah, it's really super fascinating. And it's actually given me some like insight into times where I've felt frustrated by men and their lack of like, oh, emotional awareness, or like they just seem like a little less sensitive about things. But I think emotional intelligence can be learned and it can be worked on.
Hmm.
And I know a lot of men that make it a priority to like understand themselves and their emotions, and a lot of like creative men seem to have more emotional intelligence, just from what I've seen in
Yeah.
my life. Yeah.
The thing I hear most often now is that women today are looking for men with emotional intelligence because they have the, resources, they're taking care of themselves. So they want that partner that they can share their life with, but they also want someone that they can be open with and they can be open in return. And a lot of men still struggle with that. One of the questions I've asked in street interviews is, do women really want men to open up, or do they just say that? And all the women are like, yeah, I'd love it. But
Yes.
it doesn't really always work out when they either don't want to open up, or they don't know how to, or they trauma dump, or it becomes more like, you have to be my therapist versus I just want to share this thing I'm going through with you, and I'm dealing with it on my own, but I want to share it with you. And, then there's some support there as well. But
A
men
good
don't believe that.
point. I think maybe, yeah, men don't really like know how, they don't know how to open up the way we do.
Right.
It's, yeah, societally hasn't been like taught to men as much. I do think that's changing.
I do
When I
too.
talk to younger people, it seems like they understand emotional intelligence more.
Yeah.
But um
A lot of
it's
men will say
like
like, oh,
the
go ahead. Sorry.
trauma dump, like they haven't quite figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, pump the brakes. We just met.
Yeah.
But
I think everyone needs to be in therapy.
oh,
Hello,
me too. Me too.
everybody.
I'm 10 years in. I'm 10 years in. It's changed my life. I can't recommend it enough. One of the things a lot of men do say is when I have opened up to women, they throw it back in my face as, ammo later. And I mean, that's just horrible. And I just
I
feel
think I
like
go both ways.
it's true.
I've definitely had my trauma weaponized.
Oof, oof.
Actually, my Substack tomorrow that will come out tomorrow is about that. So,
Really?
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Topical.
like, uh, you know, I think that's again like a people thing. I don't think that's a woman thing. I think people that don't work on themselves will sort of take whatever they can get to hurt somebody if they're
Yeah.
fighting dirty.
Yeah. Dirty fighting is, I think, a trait that people without emotional intelligence have. I mean, if both people are throwing it, I mean, that's just a sign that you haven't worked on your communication enough to be able to have a disagreement or a fight without it being personal or insults being hurled or anything like that. My wife was adamant before we got married. When we were engaged, she said, I want to make sure that we go to couples therapy regularly, even if we're not having any kind of fight. And I was like, why? We're totally good. Like, why? And she was like, I just think it's important. What's it going to hurt? Let's do it. And I was like, okay, fine. I found a therapist and we still go to her since then. And it has changed our dynamic completely. There were things I didn't know about her. There were things in our communication I didn't realize I was doing. There were things she was doing that we didn't realize. And it changed the game. Like there's all these tools you can learn in a relationship to be able to speak to somebody without it becoming, a fight or without it escalating emotionally. So there's a lot to learn there. I do recommend that as well. If you're in a relationship or you're with a partner, go to couples therapy even before things
Yeah,
get out of hand.
definitely
Like
learn how to
just
communicate like with a mediator.
exactly someone who can. I mean, she gives us so many tools. I could go into it for hours, but there's so many little tools we use that just keep us communicating openly. So.
That's
Um,
amazing.
So 5 years later, your bottom three. This is funny, but you couldn't pick them because you were like, I need all of these
Yeah.
traits.
Yeah. And again, like, with the financial stability, it really isn't about a number in the bank. It's not about somebody making more money than me. It's about somebody pursuing and, their gifts and like doing something that makes them feel good and confident
Yeah,
so that they're happy within themselves, so that us two separate people can both be happy with ourselves.
that's
And
a
then,
good way to put it. I mean, people can work a job that makes them a lot of money and be miserable,
yeah.
or they can pursue something they really care about and be thriving. I know my wife has seen a change in me because I had a job that I hated. Now I'm doing this, and she's like, "I can't. You are so night and day. I've never been prouder of you." And it's like she likes that more than the money I was bringing in because it wasn't making me happy. And I think that is a big part of it. In terms of the other traits, so for example. I guess you touched on all of them. I guess humor is the last one you haven't really touched on, but
Oh,
like you said, that's tied into
humor is
personality. Yeah,
cute. But again, like that comes with intelligence. It's not fun when somebody's trying to be
sure,
funny,
sure.
like over the top. Like when people are naturally funny, again, that's amazing. I love funny. I
Yeah,
want to laugh.
yeah,
I think we all want to laugh. We
for
all want to
sure.
be amused and like playful and have a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That leads us into our final segment, which is called Dear Men. This is where you give your honest advice to men. And the prompt is, and you can say whatever you want, but the prompt is, what is something you wish men knew about attraction and relationships that they often get wrong?
Something, what is something? God, the first thing that I thought was like, dear men, you should all don't be a pussy and eat pussy.
Okay. And that's our show.
And so, when I say don't be a pussy, I mean like, so I think a lot of our problems with men
Hmm.
come from fear.
Yes.
And men are like, oh, I can't be afraid, yet they're so afraid. And that is where this like aggression and confusion is coming from. So when I say don't be a pussy, I mean like we want people that are brave, but not like, oh, I'm gonna come in with my sword and rescue you, but like brave because they have learned to like what really to be afraid of in life, which really is nothing. Like being fearful is not sexy in
That,
any way.
yeah, I think
Fear is
that's
a real turn off for
I think that's
me.
incredible advice because I think there's something, for example, a lot of men are scared to ask women out.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fear. But what makes it attractive is the courage you have to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And the grace to walk away if you get rejected. There's a courage in saying, hey, I really like you. I'd like to be exclusive, or I really want to make this last, and being open about what you're looking for because you're being vulnerable, you're facing rejection, and you're doing it anyway. And there's something very courageous
That's
about
what it
that.
is. Like the courage to be vulnerable and not be afraid to be vulnerable. Because yeah, when I'm saying like fear is a turn off, it's it's not like it is okay to be afraid, but then you have to push through with courage and vulnerability.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is hot.
I agree.
Love
I,
it.
yeah, my life kind of turned around when I stopped being worried about how people perceive me, and I just started existing as me, and like, well, I like me, so here I'm just gonna go be me, and that, when you stop worrying about the fear, people are more receptive to you. They can pick up that you're not scared. They pick up that you're just confident in who you are, and they like that. It's attractive, and
It all comes back to the
right.
confidence.
Yep.
And that's like an inner thing of like working on yourself and learning to really like yourself and love yourself and take care of yourself. And then it all kind of falls into place. What was the question again? What
Giving
was
advice to men that they often get wrong, either in attraction or relationships. And I think you kind of
Yeah,
did sum it up. Yeah, like
that's the answer.
go through the fear.
Go through the fear. Don't be a pussy. Be vulnerable.
And it'll work out in your favor.
Work on your own shit. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't worry about the women even. The fact that we're also concerned about like what men are doing, what women are doing, da da da. It's not about that. It's really just about like tending your own garden.
Yeah, yeah,
As okay as that sounds, but
yeah.
that's what it is.
I mean, I can't think of better advice if I'm being honest. Like, I feel like that is the thing that is holding a lot of men back. I mean, I read a stat that like 50% of kids 18 to 24 men haven't asked a woman out in real life, which is like insane to me. I mean, we joke with my wife, but I was asking girls out in kindergarten. Like
Yeah.
I've been doing it my whole life. Like it's just been like an obsession. It's hard for me to fathom. I didn't grow up online. I didn't grow up in COVID. I didn't grow up in any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think online has really changed things for people. But that kind of courage is what has always worked, in my opinion, from the things I've seen men do and the women who receive it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It is strange. Like dating is so strange because I think people are just very lazy about meeting people in real life because they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I'll just go on my store, on my
Yeah.
online store, and we're all just turning into like it's kind of psychopathic because you can't even see people as real
Right.
people. So you're just looking at images and a
Yeah.
couple quips and
And there's no confidence there, in my opinion. There's no confidence in the app. There's confidence when you approach somebody. There's confidence, your personality can shine in real life. And I try to encourage men to get off apps because I read something that we're outnumbered 3-1 on the apps. So you're already, or men outnumber women 3-1, I should say.
yeah.
So it's like, it's already kind of a losing game. It's very surface level, very shallow. So if, maybe you're not the most attractive guy, but you're very confident, you're very funny. it's hard for that to come across in an app. So
It really is. And also it's like it's so awkward, like men taking selfies and putting them on the apps. It's like it doesn't work as well for men. It is like
no.
not it doesn't serve
Yeah.
very
It's
well.
a losing game for
It
most
is a
men.
losing
It's a
game.
fool's errand, and only the lucky, guys who had photos taken by someone else or whatever, like are able to make it work. I know Hinge has some things where you can like kind of do a video, and I've seen that kind of do a thing. I haven't been on apps in
Well, it's
forever,
like
but
everyone suddenly has to be good at social media. You know,
that's a way to put it.
everybody in every area has to be good at social media, including dating, which is really not fair because most people aren't good at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And since I started doing street interviews, I'm approaching women. Luckily, my wife's normally behind me, with a phone, so it looks like
Your wife that
yeah.
films? I
And my
love
mother-in-law. It
I need
depends
to
on who's
know
available.
how you got into this. Maybe you want to tell me later off camera if
Yeah,
you
I'd
don't
love to share
need
that with you. But
it.
yeah, I normally have at least my wife or my mother-in-law who also does this. She's also encouraged me to do this.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love it. It's a family
It
affair.
is. My mother-in-law is like she's like a producer. She's so funny. She's great. But she encouraged me to do this to begin with. But approaching women on the street has like it's been so long since I've had to do that, but I'm asking them for something innocent, but the reception I get is very, they're not like they're not terrified that I'm asking them. They're like they'll stop in the middle of the day, they'll talk to me, and it ends up being a nice interaction. It just reminds me of when I was single and like going up and asking women now. And there is an initial fear before you go and approach somebody, but that courage and that reception is like, okay, this is still a thing. People can still go talk to women, if as long as you're not interrupting their day,
Yeah. We
and be
want to
respectful.
we
Yeah,
want to be
exactly.
talked to.
Yeah,
Also, people want to talk to people.
exactly. I feel like I have a 75% yes rate when I ask people if they want to be interviewed. And it's only people who say no are typically like, I'm in a rush, I gotta go. And like,
Yeah.
yeah, totally cool. But most people are like, and normally when I say, do you mind answering a few questions about men? They just go, oh my God, men. It's like this thing that they really want to talk about.
That's interesting because actually I have a harder time interviewing getting women to talk to
Interesting.
me. Yeah, it is really interesting. And a lot of women like don't want to say how they really feel about men because they're bummed about men
Oh,
and then some women are just not as interested in talking to me for some reason. So I wonder if this like sort of gender swap that we're
that
doing
is interesting.
is helpful because I was initially really trying to like talk to everybody, but it's just become more about talking to men just because they will talk to me.
I'm starting to try to interview more couples too, because I want a lot of the guys that will see my interviews with women, they'll be like, they're lying. These women don't really think that. And they say the
Why? Like,
famous, I
what good
know,
is that gonna
I
do us?
know, I know.
Why?
I know.
For what?
There's so many copy paste things I get from these guys. One of them is don't ask a fish how to get caught, ask a fisherman. And it's like, dude, okay.
Oh, I mean, the manosphere is after me.
Oh no, are you getting a lot of hate?
Oh my God. So
Oh
much.
my goodness.
More on Instagram than
Oh,
TikTok.
same. TikTok is like lovely, but everywhere else
Lovely. I know.
I'm getting,
Somehow my algorithm, the first Manthropology video that I had that went viral was just all men just ripping into me, just talking about how stupid I am and ugly and old and dumb and like how I kill babies and kill animals and I'm evil and I should die and
oh
I should
my
kill
God.
myself and really, really intense. It was like, you know, 500,000 men just like coming at me like, and I was like, I don't think this is good. I don't know what's happening.
Jeez, that kind of reaction is just way overblown. It's like there's
But,
so much
but again,
anger.
I was sort of like, well, this is pretty interesting though.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
Kind of
lot of engagement.
scared.
Yeah. No, and when I debated Andrew on whatever, I have just on all my
That
channels,
guy.
the trolls have flooded every channel I have, and just like my goodness, they glaze him like you wouldn't believe. And but the support I've gotten on TikTok has been tremendous. So there's at least still some really good men and women out there that are, you know, in the fight and understand what we're trying to do. And there's an appetite for people to want to get rid of this red pill manosphere pipeline. So
It's really, really destructive and sad, and it's definitely not helping men.
no.
It's not.
No, it's like if this red pill stuff is helping you, you'd be dating people. You'd be out there happy in a relationship. Instead, you're
Happy.
angry and yelling at women for asking a man what's wrong with men or what's going on with
I don't
men.
even say what's wrong
I
with
know
men,
you don't. You don't. You're right. You're way
and
more
they think
innocent.
that's what I'm saying. I
You're
just say,
exactly right.
why are you like this? But I mean, it's like, it's it's like a funny phrase that's in the zeitgeist. I thought
Right.
everyone knew what that
Right.
meant. Like,
And
it's not
someone
personal attack. It's like, why are you like this? Ugh.
and someone could say, well, it's because I went to years of therapy and I've read a lot of books and that could be the answer. Instead, it's
How many memes have you seen in the world that are like, why am I like this? Like,
right.
it's a thing. Like, come on,
Very, very
people.
popular. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Holly, this has been fantastic. I
Yes,
really appreciate the
too.
conversation, you taking the time. I'm a big fan of your channel. I'll continue to watch and share and repost, and I will definitely put your social media everywhere. So everyone, please follow Holly. She's a wonderful artist, creator, writer, singer, talented person. Just a wonderful overall person. So thank you so much.
So much, Raphael. I really appreciate it. I'm a big fan of yours too.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for listening to Women on Men. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow, rate, and share the show. Women on Men is produced by Rafael Gomez. Click the links in the description to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Until next time, let's continue the work to bring women and men closer.
Well, what you doing now? I can swing by for a bit if you around. We could grab a drink, I got weed by the pound. I could be there in 20, let me know how that sounds. Yeah, I'm on my way, and I'll be there in a hurry. Take a deep breath, I know you love to worry. Fearing for the worst, but you're so wrong. You know it hasn't happened now in so long. Hang tight, I'm on the way, I got the edibles. We could take a load off, feel incredible. When the burdens of the world bring you to your knees, well, at least save a spot for me. Until then, we can